Alright, we got a duo author once again. It's been a while since we had one of those. We have a good old author Zine, or I think it is supposed to be Zine, or Zin. Actually, I think Zin makes more sense. We haven't had a SCP that they solely wrote for a long time. We have a bunch of them that they wrote with somebody. The most recent one that they wrote with somebody was 2822, which was the group of the group of like stone and mineral people, like the people made out of like stones and minerals, right, and crystals and all that stuff. That was the last one we had with Zin that was co-written, and now we have somebody called Leveritas, which this is the first SCP of theirs that we get to read. I can see that we will have them 5 more times in the future, but very far apart from each other. Like there's like 1 in series 4, 2 in series 5, and then 1 more in series 7. So we will not see Leveritas very often, but I'm excited to see what those two together have written. All right, we have Cozy Cemetery. Alright, here we go. Because Euclid, special containment procedures, instances of -1 are to remain on the premises of the cemetery. A perimeter has been established around said premises and is to be patrolled hourly by Foundation security personnel. On rotating 8-hour shifts, any unauthorized individuals attempting to enter the cemetery are to be turned away and given the explanation of an ongoing grounds refurbishment project. The groundskeeper, college, and visitor center on the cemetery premises have been repurposed for Foundation use. At least 3 level 3 containment specialists are to remain on the cemetery grounds. Additionally, personnel and heavy equipment vehicle support may be requested from any nearby Foundation sites. All personnel assigned to SB-2861 must have prior training for administering emergency treatment of psychological trauma. As of all interred coffins on the cemetery premises have been equipped with digital pressure sensors and are under observation via an infrared camera network. Upon either of these systems indicating atypical activity below ground, personnel are to immediately exhume the coffin at the corresponding location. Any individuals alive or dead recovered as a result are to be transported to the medical section of the Foundation Modified Visitor Center for further inspection and care. Wholesome SCP named Cozy Cemetery. Listen, just because the name sounds cozy, it sounds wholesome, doesn't mean the SCP itself is. It could be. Doesn't always mean that way, though. A description: SCP-2861 is a phenomenon affecting the cemetery located in the Netherlands. It's been a while since we have a Netherlands SCP. Involving living human individuals spontaneously appearing in coffins buried at the graveyard. Living in... Oh, that's like a... It's like an irrational fear of like waking up one day inside a coffin on the ground. Ever since I watched Buried by with Ryan Reynolds, where he's like, you know, in a coffin on the ground and he's trying to like get out. It's fucking so scary. We also had that one SCP which was really well. I think it was by is it called the Great Hippo? Is that the author's name? Who had like the woman who constantly like spawns back in the coffin and tries to dig her way out of the coffin to get back to her family, and every single time she dies, but then she comes back morphed, more like with like evolution to like work as a person, as a creature that can dig out of a coffin easier. So I already mentioned there, being buried alive is probably one of the most terrifying things you can do to a person. Affected coffins are designated as instances of -1 and are known to cease exhibiting SB-2861 effects upon removal from the corresponding grave sites. Experimental data indicates that re-entering formerly exhumed -1 instances does not cause the anomalous effect to re-manifest. Discussion is ongoing regarding the feasibility of removing all coffins from the cemetery. Carbon dating indicates that -1 instances were created during the 18th and 19th centuries. The coffins are plainly crafted from oak and pine wood and possesses no external ornamentation. The interior of the coffins are similarly plain and have no cushioning material. All Dash-4 instances have been known to be stamped with icons imitating existing commercial leisure travel agency logos. None of the agency names present on these icons are consistent with any known travel companies. The first 5 Dash-1 instances were initially retrieved after a cemetery caretaker contacted local police authorities to report hearing yelling and banging from certain grave sites. Oh, I would be... Oh my god, no. I would be so scared. The following Foundation intervention containment specialists discovered an extremely distressed, though medically stable woman within one of the coffins. Later confirmed to be a 21-year-old Lily. But information on the individual's psychological state is currently unavailable. Pending psychiatric treatment at the clinic and Miss regaining her ability to communicate verbally. The remaining reported grave sites were searched and 4 bodies of recently deceased individuals were recovered from the coffins, also containing partially decomposed remains of those originally interred. To determine the extent of the anomaly manifestation, additional grave sites were exhumed. But the coffins were moved. Possession, no remarkable contents. Ugh. I would wish that... One of my worst fears, I would wish that my worst enemies. Now that would be a shocking sight to behold. I do not wish anything on my worst enemies. But if like at the end, like this is, because this is like beyond, you know, this is like, this is a lot, this is the big, I think I would argue this is the biggest mental torture you can do to somebody. Burying them alive is, I think, the biggest torture mentally. Like physically you'll be fine, but mentally that breaks you. That absolutely breaks. That, I mean, it's the same reason why solid confinement is so, like, breaks a person. This cemetery doesn't seem cozy to me. Yeah. It's what I'm saying, like, just because the title says it's cozy doesn't mean that the SCP itself is wholesome or cozy. Since the Foundation initial observation of the SCP-2861 anomaly in 1980, human individuals have continued to spontaneously appear within instances of Dash-1, often exhibiting various levels of mental distress. All of the individuals involved report having no memory of the circumstances preceding their appearing in Dash-1, though in nearly every recorded case, the individual involved were clothed in sleepwear or similarly like garments. Oh, is that why it's cozy? Because I am in my PJs while being buried alive? Additionally, in some instances, well, not being buried alive, I am buried alive already. Additionally, in some instances, small objects similar to the free hotel amenity items have been discovered tucked into SCP-2861's victim clothing. Examples include small bottles of garlic-scented liquid soap, packets of unbranded tea mixed with leek stems, and cellophane-wrapped mints containing pieces of fennel. Well, thank you. Thanks for giving me a mint while I'm down here. Attempts to trace these products to a supplier are ongoing. Maybe close with a mechanic. The title is just straight up lying this time. I just thought the SB name was wholesome, not the SB itself. You said... Yeah, you did say the name is wholesome. Yeah, you did say that. Addendum 1. Of all current survivors, Mr. Jacob van Dijk, 34... Dijk? I think it's Dijk, or Dick. 34 years old, time of recovery, has been deemed the most lucid. Mr. van Dijk was recovered from the... I wish I could ask my Netherlands friend, but she's currently not responding to anything, so I'm like... I would ask her, like, how do you pronounce this? Mr. Van Dijk was recovered from the 7th instance of Dash-1 to manifest. Was known to have possessed an unusually calm demeanor during the initial extraction from the Dash-1 instance, despite his having been transported into a coffin already occupied by a newly buried corpse. In the majority of recorded cases, victims of SCP-2861 expired from asphyxiation before Foundation personnel were able to reach them, despite all efforts to exhume graves quickly. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. Being... buried alive, big time fear, big time no. Finding somebody who was buried alive and they have no reaction to that thing, that is worrisome. that is, I think that's the moment where you have to, like, keep an eye on that person. He's like, okay, you've been on the ground alive for like a solid day. And you were with a corpse. and you walk out of this like as if this was just a regular Tuesday. Like, what are you talking about? Dr. De Graaf, medical personnel member assigned to oversee Mr. Van Dijk, the therapy sessions to, is currently researching Mr. Van Dijk, a typical restraint in relation to other cases studies involving SB2861. Addendum 2. Currently all known survivors of SB2861 anomaly manifestations have exhibited behavior believed to be consistent with DSM-5 diagnosis of schizotypal personality disorder. Characterized by, among other symptoms, strange beliefs or magical thinking and abnormal perceptual experiences. I mean, makes sense. Like, if they were, like, at home, and next thing you know, they wake up in a coffin, of course they're gonna start being like, okay, there's some magic afoot. While attempted regularly interviews with survivors capable of coherent speech do not often yield actionable data. The interview log 2861 case excerpt. Okay. Note this interview log 2861. This interview was conducted in Dutch and has been translated into English. Dr. Martin de Graaf and Mr. Jacob Van Dijk retrieved from SCP-2861-on. It's a level of life to your preference, Mr. Jacobs. It's a little too bright. If the lights are any dimmer, you will not be able to see anything. Yes, I missed that, truthfully. Closing my eyes helps me remember, but it's not quite the same. The same as what? The same as sleeping like the dead. It was an experience. Like the most expensive spa. What do you think about when you close your eyes? The graveyard. Okay, arrest this guy. Translate from the Begrafsplatz. Yeah, that's very similar to... that's like a mixture of German and English right there. Though the semantic equivalent is the place in which people are put on the ground. You wish to return there? It's the most peaceful place I know of. I'm not surprised they were upset if some people did not like it. Maybe I will return on the next holiday. I understand. We'll do our best to accommodate you. Please put me back there sometime. It was so comfortable. And quiet. It is that now that's pure comedy. To hear like a guy being like, I want to be put down on the ground. It was so peaceful and quiet, and just fucking Ray Rhythm Johnson in the song from your favorite Martians just being, I'm not sure if you're aware, but your kids suck ass. I did not mute. I paused. It's just such a. It's just so funny that like, timing wise, how that happened. Authorized personnel only. Oh my god. When the cemetery premises basement used for embalming no longer offers sufficient space for the number of individuals affected by SB2861, a new facility was constructed to serve as a space for psychiatric treatment. To the public, this building is explained as being a private crematorium for members of an undisclosed family. Thus far, no common or foundation developed treatments have permanently improved the mental health of SB2861 victims. Yeah, of course not. It's maybe amnestics. Currently, the method that has received the most consistently positive reaction involves allowing the patient to sleep in specially designed wall cavities in line with dirt. So they literally now, a lot of them want to be back in the grave. They want to be like, hey, even though I panicked, I kind of liked it. Can you put me back in? No, from Dr. De Graaf. Also, a little bit ironic that we have a Dr. De Graaf and translate from the Begrafsplatz. They literally picked the one doctor whose name is translated as grave to interview people that came out of the graveyards or the cemetery. Stockholm's grave, yeah, that's a good title. That's the title I will use. The patients seem to respond best to someone else or an automated system letting them out after they are done sleeping. They prefer not to rely on themselves to choose when to get up. Very vampire-esque. Like, you know how like the vampire grave just like opens up and it's just like, ooh. Addendum 3. Trace samples of DNA, most commonly bloodstains and fragments of human fingernails, have been recovered from the woodwork of -1 instances. Yeah, of course. You know. Carbon dating of these remains reveals that the oldest samples are estimated to be nearly 200 years old, while the most recent are dated to approximately 1970. In cases, genetic material from more than one individual was recovered from a single instance of -1. As of, the Foundation's recovered individuals living and newly deceased from -1 instances. It has been noted that consistently throughout these cases, those who suffered asphyxiation have panicked and damaged their corresponding coffin, while the survivors left the contents of the coffins undisturbed. So that means like all the ones who survived were like, this is nice. I like it here. Oh yeah. Peace and quiet. It's so peaceful. And quiet around here. I can feel a good night's rest coming over me. You know what I mean? Words carved into the coffin would by victims of SCP-2861 have as recently as been accompanied by the text etched into the wood reading Sorgen sind genotiert. Roughly translation from Dutch, your concerns are noted. Sorgen, yeah. Your Sorgen. Okay, yeah. Dutch is really interesting language. It is such a mix of English and German for me. That's what it sounds like. Because there's like some words that sound very German, but then there's like some English terms mixed in the middle of it. So yeah. I think what we have here. I thought you wrote Stockholm. I think it's not the coffin, but it's sort of heaven they go to, and then it sends them back. No, I think it's just a coffin. I think some of them just have a feeling of like, oh my god, rest. Because they do want to be awake again. They're like, yeah, no, wake me up once I got enough hours in. Fun fact, I pulled the 50th upload for this SCP. Hey! Hey, nice. Nice. We like to hear that. More people upvoted. Because I think it's actually a good idea. It's a good concept of an SCP. So I better see some upvotes for our duo authors, Zin and Leberitas, okay? I want to see some stuff there. In the meantime, wait, watch this. A non-believer, watch this. It's still one of my favorite vines from. I can go Super Saiyan, okay? A non-believer, watch this. And he just starts screaming and levitates, and now the guy's like actually panicking. I upload almost every SCP I read. Nice. Nice, yeah, dude.